Let's just jump into, for today, we're going to scan RHEL 9 with OpenSCAP with the DISA STIG. So if we want to jump over to my terminal, we can get ourselves started. So we got the sudo DNF install. We're going to go through, if this is the first time you're watching us, we're going to assume this is a brand new box. We're going to go ahead and install the OpenSCAP scanner and some of those guides that come along with that. We're going through and installing the RHEL 9 STIG. That's what we went through and did. We went through and then did an initial scan of the system as well to be able to say, what percentage is our machine already hardened out of the box? Now, next step is we're going to use this program called Links, which is an in-terminal browser. This is how we're going to take a look at this report. We're exporting it as an HTML file. So here's we named RHEL 9 report. And if we scroll down on this, if we scroll down, we can see the percentage is 47% hardened for the RHEL 9 STIG. We can go through and do better than that. Let's get out of this terminal. We're going to hit clear. And let's go ahead now.
47%.
We can always do.
Come on.
Yeah, right. So in this case, the difference is we're now going to use the OpenSCAP and tell it to remediate. We're using the same thing we did for scanning to find out where we're currently at, and now we're going to harden it. This will take a minute or two for it to go through. So hopefully I'm not talking to dead air this time.
Nope, we're good.
Fantastic. Like, we got interactions, right? This is fine. So when we go through and do this, while we're getting a couple of the passes and fails before, we're going to talk more about the DISA STIG, to where this is not the end all be all. This is just one step in helping you become more compliant with the DISA STIG. And in a minute, you should start seeing fixed or changed coming up in the results section here shortly. And there's lots of different resources when it comes to STIGs. So OpenSCAP is easy because we've got everything inside of the terminal. We can go through and either run that locally or run that on multiple systems. You have options of hardening this via like bash scripts or Ansible playbooks. Lots of options to be able to do either a single or air-gapped network, or if you have network connectivity and are trying to do this on multiple machines. Typically, you're trying to find out your current system status. If you need to harden via STIG, there's the ability to install it from the start and do partitioning in some things. So here comes the starting remediation. This will kick off. It'll take a minute here to install. Like installing aid is one of the very first things that take a little bit. And we should let it just keep on going here. And we'll get it higher with the remediation this time around. But in this case, this is not going to go through and do your partitionings for your hard drive or for your SSD. It's up to you to go through and install that at the beginning of your fresh install of RHEL, versus this is saying, here's already an and harden it the best we can.
Yeah, we had touched on that when we talked about OpenSCAP last time around. There's certain things that it's really difficult to automatically remediate. And one of those would be things like hard drive partitioning, mount points, and things like that.
So take just another minute here. Hopefully the connection's coming through and no problems so far. Okay, while that's going on, I'm going to kill the video for a second so I can get the switch over.
There we go. We can leave your video off. That'll hopefully save bandwidth and we won't have any trouble.
All right, so we can see how some are coming up with errors like aid and FIPS validation. That is something we can go through, and we'll have to go through and do at the initial installation versus trying to do that post. It'll only take another minute here.
This is what takes a while with any demo, right? We're waiting for it to do all the processing. It's making a ton of changes, which is why this takes a while.
Hardening takes a little bit, but it's less than 5 minutes for a machine that I've typically seen. So usually about a 2-minute time frame is more realistic. Now, if you're running like an Ansible playbook and doing this on a whole fleet, that's a whole different deal because it's reaching out to each one of those boxes. But aid, if you've not deep dove, is pretty awesome when it comes to all of the things that it can audit. File creation, modification, moving, you name it. It's amazing.
Aid's pretty cool.
And that's AIDE.
We need a progress bar. Why isn't there a progress bar? Come on.
Right?
I'm gonna file need a progress bar.
Need like a tac progress addition to this thing.
It's moving.
Slowly but surely.
There, actually, you can see right there on the screen, it says ensure var temp is located on a separate partition, and it says fail. You can't remediate that on its own. That's what we were talking about earlier with disk partitioning.
So out of curiosity, I'm curious to see if folks have gone through either live in chat or afterwards and you're watching the video. Let us know if you're installing via STIGs at the beginning, if you're having to install it afterwards, because there are different instructions and recommendations that we can talk about after we switch over. Is aid covered in Red Hat docs? Absolutely, Vincent. That's a great question. It's going to be underneath our hardening guide, which we can grab a link to. If I can't get that, I know Rick is pretty nimble that he could probably grab that and throw that in chat as well. So
Don't do that.
Installing a couple more things here, getting it fixed. Fantastic. Looks like Eric got to it. Thank you, sir. This is an amazing hardening guide. It focuses on everything RHEL security, but there is a specific section on aid. So depending
it talks
on
about aid, it'll talk about SE Linux, it'll talk about F8 Policy D. It covers that keylime that I was talking about earlier, or not earlier, but last episode, the remote attestation stuff. Good stuff in there.
Absolutely. And then I'm seeing Joshua in chat also saying they're using satellite and configuring our Kickstart to be mostly STIG compliant at deployment. That is the best way to go, in my opinion, Joshua, for sure.
Yeah, if you can do it at deployment time, it cuts down on so much of the, stress, right?
Yes.
Imagine making this many changes to a production system, right? It just, especially if you're trying to do it on a lot of systems, I can imagine wringing my hands while waiting for that Ansible playbook to finish.
Oh, yeah.
Watching the monitoring system, waiting for systems to go down.
Exactly. You keep on praying to the demo gods when it comes to that bounce back.
Hey, all right. Looks like it finished.
Fantastic. We're going to go through and take a look at the results file. We'll clear out the screen. We'll go through and use links to look at the remediated report. As we scroll down, we can see the new percentage as 97% passing.
Wow.
That gets you a lot closer to that end goal.
We were at like, what was it, 47?
40 or 47.67. Yep.
Yeah, we were less than 50. I remember that. And this got us to within less than 3% to 100% compliant. That's
and we can see the rule results for 424 passed and 14 failed, and then another 13 that we'd have to deep dive on later on.